Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that dolphins had built underwater cities. Ravens had created their own language. Chimpanzees were writing books. It sounds impossible. Yet millions of years ago there was nothing special about humans. We were not the strongest. We were not the fastest. We did not have the sharpest teeth or the biggest claws. In fact, we were one of the weakest animals trying to survive on a dangerous planet. So why did only one species change everything? Why did humans become the only creatures capable of building civilizations, flying into space, and asking questions about the universe itself? The answer is stranger than you might think. Because the biggest advantage humans ever evolved was not intelligence. It was something far more unexpected. Around 7 million years ago, our ancestors looked nothing like us. They lived in forests and open grasslands across Africa. They climbed trees, searched for food, and spent every single day trying to stay alive. Every sound in the bushes could mean death. Every sunset meant another night filled with danger. The world belonged to giants. Massive cats silently hunted through the grass. Crocodiles waded beneath muddy rivers. Giant snakes hid where nobody expected them. Even birds could become deadly predators. Compared to these animals, humans were almost helpless. We had no claws, no thick fur, no poison, no armor, no incredible speed. If survival were decided by physical strength, humans should have disappeared forever. Yet somehow we survived. Not only did we survive, we eventually dominated every continent on Earth. Scientists have spent decades trying to answer this mystery. Some believed our large brains made the difference. Others believed language changed everything. Some argued that fire was the greatest invention in human history. But each explanation leaves one important question unanswered. Why us? Thousands of intelligent species have lived on Earth. Elephants remember faces for decades. Crows solve complex puzzles. Dolphins recognize themselves in mirrors. Octopuses escape locked containers. Chimpanzees use tools and even teach skills to their young. Many animals are incredibly intelligent. So why did none of them build civilizations? To understand the answer, we have to travel back nearly 2 million years. The Earth looked completely different. Huge grasslands stretched across Africa. The climate constantly changed between wet and dry seasons. Food became harder to find. Rivers disappeared. Forests shrank. Survival became more difficult every generation. For early humans, every day was a test. Finding enough food was only the beginning. Avoiding predators was even harder. A single mistake could end an entire family. Unlike lions, humans could not simply chase prey until it became exhausted. Unlike bears, they could not overpower larger animals. Unlike wolves, they lacked natural weapons. Nature had given humans almost nothing. But sometimes having nothing forces you to invent everything. Instead of growing stronger muscles, humans slowly developed something far more valuable. They became better at solving problems. Imagine standing in front of a river filled with crocodiles. Most animals would either cross immediately or walk away. An early human could stop, observe, think. Maybe there is a safer place upstream. Maybe fallen trees can become a bridge. Maybe waiting until morning changes everything. That single ability changed the future of our species. Not because humans always made the correct decision, but because they could imagine possibilities before taking action. This was completely different from instinct. Instinct reacts. Thinking predicts. That difference may sound small. In reality, it changed the history of life on Earth. Over thousands of generations, human brains slowly became larger. But a bigger brain alone explains very little. Whales have enormous brains. Elephants have enormous brains. Some extinct animals had brains larger than ours. Brain size was never the full story. Scientists discovered something far more important. The connections inside the human brain became incredibly complex. Different regions started communicating faster and more efficiently than ever before. Memory improved. Planning improved. Communication improved. Most importantly, imagination improved. Imagine holding a simple stone. To most animals, it is just another rock. To an early human, it could become a knife, a hammer, a spear, or the beginning of something completely new. This ability to see objects not for what they are, but for what they could become, is one of humanity's greatest superpowers. Every invention in history began with exactly the same process. Someone imagined a different future. Long before cities existed, long before writing, long before farming, the human mind had already started changing the world. Then something even more incredible happened. Humans discovered that working together could solve problems no individual could ever solve alone. One person could watch for predators. Another could collect food. Someone else could protect children. Knowledge no longer disappeared when one individual died. Could be shared. Each generation inherited the discoveries of the generation before it. This created something evolution had never seen before. Instead of starting from zero, every generation started one step ahead. Small discoveries slowly became larger discoveries. Simple stone tools became sharper weapons. Temporary shelters became permanent homes. Simple sounds slowly evolved into meaningful communication. Without realizing it, humans had started building an invisible machine. A machine powered by shared knowledge. And once that machine started growing, it never stopped. But even this was not enough to explain humanity's greatest mystery. Because another human species once walked beside us. They were stronger than us. Better adapted to cold environments. Excellent hunters. They had large brains almost equal to our own. Yet today they are completely gone, while one fragile species survived and conquered the entire planet. The question is no longer why humans became intelligent. The real question is why every other intelligent human species disappeared. And the answer changes everything. The answer begins nearly 70,000 years ago during one of the most important turning points in human history. Scientists call it the cognitive revolution. Something inside the human mind changed forever. It did not happen in a single day, and no one knows the exact moment it began. But over thousands of years, our ancestors developed an ability that almost no other animal has ever possessed. They could imagine things that did not physically exist. That may sound ordinary today because imagination feels natural to us. But imagine explaining the idea of money to a chimpanzee. It would only see a piece of paper. Imagine explaining a country to a wolf. It would only see land. Imagine explaining a company to an elephant. It would only see a building. Humans see something completely different. We see invisible ideas and we agree to believe in them together. That simple ability changed the course of history. Money has value because billions of people believe it does. Borders exist because societies agree they exist. Governments, religions, universities, laws, and even businesses are all invisible systems created inside the human imagination. No other species has ever built a civilization around shared beliefs. This allowed humans to cooperate on a scale that nature had never seen before. Early hunting groups were no longer just families trying to survive. They became communities. Communities became tribes. Tribes exchanged knowledge with other tribes. Instead of every generation starting from the beginning, each generation inherited the discoveries of the previous one. Human knowledge started growing like a snowball rolling downhill. Every new discovery made the next discovery easier. Then humans learned to control one of nature's most dangerous forces, fire. Long before humans knew how to create fire, they learned how to protect it. Lightning strikes often started wildfires across the African savanna. Early humans carefully carried burning branches back to their camps and kept the flames alive for days. Losing the fire could mean starting over from nothing. Protecting it became one of the most important jobs in the group. Eventually, humans discovered how to create fire whenever they wanted. That single achievement changed everything. Cooked food became easier to chew and digest. The body used less energy processing raw food and more energy supporting the growing brain. Dangerous bacteria inside meat were destroyed. New food sources became safe to eat. Human health slowly improved. Fire also changed life after sunset. Before fire, darkness belonged to predators. Lions, hyenas, and leopards hunted while humans hid in fear. But a burning campfire pushed many predators away. Families could now sit together at night. They talked. They laughed. They shared stories. Parents taught children everything they had learned during their lives. Around those fires, knowledge moved from one generation to the next. But even with fire, humans were still physically weak. A lion was stronger. A leopard was faster. A bear could overpower several humans at once. If survival depended only on muscles, humans would never have become the dominant species. Instead, they discovered something even more powerful than strength. Teamwork. Imagine trying to hunt a giant mammoth alone. It would be impossible. But a group of 20 humans could surround it, predict its movements, build traps, and work together with a shared plan. Every person had a different role. Some watched from high ground. Some distracted the animal. Others waited with spears. Success depended on communication, planning, and trust rather than raw power. This became humanity's greatest advantage. Humans did not become the strongest hunters because they had the strongest bodies. They became the strongest hunters because they could think together. That same ability still shapes our lives today. Look around you. The phone in your hand was not built by one genius. Thousands of people across different countries helped create it. Engineers designed it. Miners collected the raw materials. Factory workers assembled it. Programmers wrote the software. Ships transported it across oceans. Millions of strangers worked together even though they never met each other. And no other animal can cooperate on such a massive scale. As humans spread beyond Africa, they entered freezing mountains, burning deserts, thick forests, and distant islands. Every new environment created a new challenge. Most animals adapt through evolution, a process that takes thousands of generations. Humans found a faster solution. They adapted through ideas. When the weather became cold, they invented warmer clothing. When rivers blocked their path, they built boats. When hunting became difficult, they designed better weapons. Instead of waiting for evolution to change their bodies, they changed the world around them. That is why human progress accelerated so quickly. Then history presented another mystery. For thousands of years, Homo sapiens were not alone. Another human species lived beside them, the Neanderthals. They were powerful hunters with muscular bodies and brains almost as large as ours. They survived harsh ice age conditions that would have challenged almost anyone. Yet today they are gone. Scientists still debate exactly why Neanderthals disappeared. Climate change may have reduced their numbers. Disease may have spread between populations. Competition for food may have pushed them closer to extinction. But one idea appears again and again in modern research. Homo sapiens built larger social networks. They shared information faster. They adapted more quickly. They formed stronger connections between different groups. In other words, intelligence alone was not enough. The ability to share intelligence became the real advantage. From that moment, human history entered a completely different chapter. Small villages became towns. Towns became cities. Cities became kingdoms. Kingdoms became civilizations. Every generation inherited thousands of years of knowledge and added something new before passing it forward again. It seemed as if nothing could stop humanity anymore. But scientists eventually discovered that the greatest difference between humans and every other animal was not our tools, our language, or even our intelligence. It was something hidden deep inside the human brain. And once researchers understood what it was, the entire story of human evolution suddenly made perfect sense. Scientists once believed that intelligence was simply about having a bigger brain. It sounded logical. A bigger brain should mean greater intelligence. But as researchers continued studying animals, that theory began to fall apart. Sperm whales have brains much larger than ours. Elephants also have enormous brains. Even some extinct animals had brains that outweighed the human brain. Clearly, size alone could not explain humanity's success. The real difference was hidden inside the brain itself. The human brain contains billions of neurons connected by trillions of pathways. These connections allow different parts of the brain to work together almost instantly. Memory, imagination, language, planning, emotions, and problem-solving constantly communicate with one another. Instead of simply reacting to the world, humans can simulate the future inside their minds before taking action. Imagine standing at the edge of a river. An animal sees water. A human sees possibilities. We imagine building a bridge. We imagine creating a boat. We imagine swimming across tomorrow instead of today. Before the first bridge was ever built, it already existed inside someone's imagination. That ability changed everything. Every invention in human history was imagined long before it became real. The wheel, agriculture, writing, mathematics, medicine, electricity, computers, space travel. Every one of these ideas existed only inside a human mind before becoming reality. This is why humans dominate a planet filled with stronger animals. We do not simply adapt to the environment. We redesign the environment to fit us. Yet, intelligence also came with a price. The same imagination that allowed humans to build civilizations also allowed us to fear things that did not yet exist. We worry about tomorrow. We imagine disasters before they happen. We argue over beliefs, ideas, and symbols that cannot even be touched. Our greatest strength also became one of our greatest weaknesses. No lion loses sleep worrying about the future. No elephant wonders about the meaning of life. No wolf dreams of building a city on another planet. Only humans ask questions that have no immediate answer. Who are we? Why are we here? What exists beyond the stars? Those questions changed our species forever. Curiosity pushed humans across oceans. Curiosity built telescopes. Curiosity created science. Curiosity sent spacecraft beyond our solar system. Every major leap in history began because someone refused to accept, "This is enough." Today, that same curiosity has taken us farther than any other species could have imagined. Humans have walked on the moon. We have explored the deepest parts of the oceans. We have mapped the human genome. We have built artificial intelligence capable of solving problems in seconds that once took years. And yet, after all our discoveries, one mystery remains unsolved: consciousness. Scientists still cannot fully explain why we experience thoughts, emotions, dreams, or self-awareness. We understand many parts of the brain, but we still do not know exactly how billions of neurons create the feeling of being you. It is one of the greatest unanswered questions in science. Perhaps that is what truly separates humans from every other species. Not just intelligence, but the awareness that we are intelligent. The ability to reflect on our own existence. To imagine impossible futures. To learn from the distant past. And to change our future because of what we learn. Millions of years ago, our ancestors were frightened creatures hiding from predators on the African savanna. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor, and no special physical advantages. If you had looked at them back then, you would never have guessed they would one day build skyscrapers, invent the internet, split the atom, or place robots on Mars. Nature never made humans the strongest species. It made us the species that could learn faster than any other. Every generation inherited knowledge from the one before it. Every mistake became a lesson. Every discovery became a foundation for the next breakthrough. That endless chain of shared knowledge turned fragile primates into the dominant force on Earth. So the next time you look at a city skyline, a smartphone, an airplane, or even a simple book, remember this: none of them exist because humans are the strongest animals. They exist because millions of minds, across thousands of generations, kept asking one simple question. What if? That question built civilization. That question changed the world. And perhaps one day, it will take humanity beyond the stars.